Why did you decide to become a YouTuber? Was chemical engineering too sexist? I really like this question, actually. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I have a very special Q&A planned for you. I have never done a Q&A before, so I thought that this would be the time to do it. Over the past month or so since I started making videos again, I've gotten some really great deep questions in my email, Instagram, and just my comments in general. And I feel like you guys are just a very deep and smart crowd. So I figured a lot of these questions could benefit other people out there. So I thought I would just throw them all into one big video where you can just skip around to different questions that people ask and you can see my answers for them. I have had a very crazy month and I just have not been able to sit down and respond to all of them. So I figured this would be my way to make up for it. So hopefully you will find something in here. Hopefully I answer your question in general. I think I have 40 questions. So I hope I can get through all of them. I will try my best. And yeah, let's go ahead and just jump right in. I have things that are on the more personal side to generic kind of INFJ stuff. And yeah, I hope that it benefits you. So here we go. All right, first question. What motivated you to start sharing your INFJ experiences on YouTube and why keep going? I really like this question because it helps me explain myself a little bit. Especially for my channel, I start and stop and start and stop. And I know I would love to be more consistent with it. I started YouTube 4 years ago. I think it was 2021, like fall 2021. And I had just come out of a season that was very strange. And I was trying to wrap my mind around certain philosophical things, especially. I just felt really pent up with experiences and ideas and a lot of stuff that I just wanted to talk about. And I didn't really have anybody in my local environment that I could share them with. So I wanted to start with YouTube. I can't remember when the idea came to me or how it came to me, but I was like, I should just talk to a camera, if nothing else. And so that was how I started. All right, so next question. Actually, a few questions. I think these are all pretty similar, so I'm just going to answer them all at once. We have, where are you from? What's your background like? And what was your upbringing like? Let's see, where to begin with my origin story? Geez. I grew up in the country. It was a small town of about 5,000 people. I think the nearest mall was like an hour and a half away. Very, very country town. It smelled bad. It smelled like sugar beets because there was a sugar beet plant nearby. And we used to have like bring your tractor to school day. And I hated that day because it was really hard to find parking in the parking lot. My family is not agriculture based at all. My dad is an engineer. He worked at like a local power plant. My mom was a biology teacher. We were our own thing in that town. My family was very academic focused, and my mom, especially as a teacher, really loved to teach us stuff. And she was very lucky because she had 4 very curious kids. So I am the second of 4 kids. I have an older sister and 2 younger brothers. We're all 2 years apart from the next. I think the area where I struggled as like someone who resonates with the INFJ personality was just that I was a very sensitive kid. I had a terrible time in the public school system. And I was also very intellectually kind of hungry, and that didn't pair well in a town that was like really tiny and not interested in academics at all. They were mostly interested in sports and farming. So there was a big clash there, and in the sense that I just didn't really feel like I belonged. I never felt like I belonged in that environment. So lack of belonging, I think, was kind of a general theme throughout my childhood. But the one place that I did belong was my home life. And I just really felt like I loved my siblings a lot. And we still, to this day, are very close friends. All right. So next question. Why did you decide to become a YouTuber? Was chemical engineering too sexist? I really like this question, actually. I like it. It's very personal, but I will address it. My profession, I feel, is like very integral to who I am, actually. I love engineering, and that was just the career path that I started on. I chose YouTube, like I said, because I wanted to express myself and various ideas that I had inside of myself. I would like to address this question as well. Was chemical engineering too sexist? That's a really funny question because I am often in very male dominant types of industries, so far, at least in my life. It is true that, yes, a little bit is chemical engineering too sexist. I have had horrific experiences in that department due to that, yes. I might do like a video about microaggression, and especially when you're a sensitive person in environments where there's like subtle hostility. I've considered doing videos about that, but I would want to do it with a lot of artistic tact. So I might put that to the side for a bit because it is deeply personal. But I would say this world is full of problems, of course, especially in workplaces, that you will just come across all kinds of behaviors and people and things. And if you're a woman in a male dominant environment, then yes, that does tend to happen. I would say that that is something that I like to probe psychologically as well. Like why are men in certain environments behaving that way? I don't know. And I think that it is something that we need to talk about, though, to get a deeper understanding of. So I like this question. A lot there to unpack, and I don't think I'll do it in this video, but it is part of the reason why I left, and I have not actually had any problems in technology when it comes to sexism. So yeah, deep question right off the bat. So thank you for that. All right, next question. What ethnicity are you? Yeah, this is a question that I get all the time by local people, that like strangers ask me this question, and I totally don't mind answering it. I am half Mexican, half white. My mom is Mexican, very fluent in Spanish. That was her original language. And then my dad is a white guy from Nebraska. So I really like studying heritage and stuff. On my dad's side, I think I'm actually like a Mayflower descendant. It goes all the way back 13 generations. On my mom's side, I think something kind of cool is that like my grandma, she has very green eyes, and she just has like this beautiful aesthetic about her. Her mom, I think, had very blue eyes. And I just love studying things like genetics and heritage and culture, and like how things formulate into who you are, because that will shape your values. And I love being biracial because I saw two cultures come together, and both of them are like manifest inside of me. Each one has like different kind of hierarchy of values, I would put it that way. Like on my Mexican side, they're just so family oriented. On my white side, it's a little more like community driven type of motivations, and like a little more individualism as well. So I don't know, there's a lot there to unpack. Actually, I would love to do a video about like culture and heritage. I feel like a lot of pride, I think, on both sides of my family, both the Mexican and the white side. There's a lot there that shaped who I am. I think especially like all of my cousins are just so cool. A lot of them went to like Oxford or Harvard, or they're engineers, and they're out in the world doing really cool things. And yeah, that's actually a part of my upbringing too. It's just that I had like a big high bar that I had to reach because of the family that I grew up in. My grandpa on my mom's side was a migrant worker, and I made that video about how he met my grandma. He was someone who just had like a very strong faith. Growing up in his times, there was a lot of racism and things of that nature. And I'm like losing my train of thought, just like thinking about him. Like my heart swells with a lot of affection, I think, just for that side of the family too, just because I know that they went through so much to give me what I have in this day and age. And I'm just so proud of like all of my cousins, like every single one of them, not just for their professions, but who they are as people. Strong characters, just incredible people. Anyway, I'm like going off on a tangent, but I would say that it's really important to get into your heritage. That's my main thing that I'm getting at. Understand them, like understand who are your ancestors and how do they shape who you are. There's a lot of patterns there that you should explore, and patterns to break and patterns to sustain. I think if you grew up in an environment that was not so great as well, like terrible kind of parents, or you're ashamed of your family, then I think something cool is that you can also just be that person who becomes the grandparents that everybody wants to make proud. And I think something that would define a healthy household is when you want the next generation to have more and better. You want to break those patterns of hardship or whatever you're going through. You can be the pattern breaker to do that. So, all right, this is going to be a long video, and I don't mind that it's so long. We are just now getting to the INFJ stuff. If there's things you don't want to hear, you can skip around to the questions that you want, and we'll just go about it that way. So Why so much INFJ content? And are your videos mostly Myers-Briggs focused? I didn't have a very strong attachment to that INFJ label. The YouTube space for INFJs has evolved quite a bit in the past 6 years, and I don't really like it, if I'm honest with you. It's kind of become a place where people have this ego identity around being different and rare and special in some way. My intention is not really to fuel that by any means. To me, the INFJ label was just a very quick and easy way for me to find people who are deeply empathic, philosophical, and ask deep questions. So I don't really have a strong affinity to the label itself. I think the real gold for our INFJ stuff, if you want to get into the depths of psychology, would be cognitive functions. And a lot of channels do not venture into that territory. That is the more academic side of things. And I think you can really find things about your personality in there that are articulated in ways that you won't hear anywhere else. I liked learning about introverted intuition. That one was super helpful for me. And then also understanding the polarity of extroverted sensing. I don't know where else I would have found that nugget of insight, that I have a really hard time with like the sensory world versus the idea kind of fantasy land that I tend to live in. That came through Myers-Briggs. And I think it's really good to approach Myers-Briggs like it's an art, and like it's not supposed to be a science. A lot of people come on my channel saying like this is not scientific at all, and it's not supposed to be, is my answer to that. It is supposed to be just kind of a broad generalized resonance, ways to get insight into the depths of your being, give words to things that are hard to articulate, and Myers-Briggs is just one way to do that of many. So all right, next question. Why do INFJs tend to be more turbulent in their personalities? There's all kinds of angles for this one. I don't even know where to begin. Like there's the psychology angle. We could go there. I would like to approach this one, I think, mostly from the sensitivity angle. A lot of INFJs are very sensitive people. Like I have this metaphor that's coming to my mind, and like in chemical engineering, we have literal sensors sometimes that are just extremely sensitive. Like they're taking in all kinds of data, temperature, humidity, just one small change in the room will like trigger that thing, and it'll take forever to find its balance. And I kind of see INFJs like very sensitive sensors, like literally. I think we just have more variables that we're working with. So if you're in a room and you're taking in all this information and it takes time to actually process it. So I feel like the majority of our lives, we start out with not understanding that that's even a trait. Like I don't even know that I'm sensitive. Why am I so different? And then you have to get words for that and try to find that distinction and separation from other people. Like I appear to have a harder time with being in large crowds and being in like social environments where there's a lot of passive aggressiveness and things of that nature. I'm picking up on more. I don't know what it is or how to articulate it even, but I'm just picking up on more. So I would just say that a lot of it comes down to sensitivity, and then over time learning to take in those variables. And I think the key is in reflecting on that. Like take as much time as you need to be in solitude and reflect on those experiences. And the more you do it, I think the more you can go out into the world and have already processed a lot of those sensory type things. There's so many angles that I could go on with that, but I would pick sensitivity as one of the major reasons that we are turbulent. We are just all over the place kind of people when it comes to what we're attuned to. So, all right, another one. What helps you overcome burnout as an INFJ? And I think I'm going to combine this with another one on the list, which is what healing modalities would you recommend for INFJs? This is a great question. Burnout. This is something that I feel like I still don't have a handle on, if I'm being completely honest with you. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I was extremely burned out. I quit doing videos during that time because I was trying to rest up. I was in kind of a hard work environment that was just like really, really hard on me because I was not really passionate about the work I was doing, and I burned out. I think the other angle is like if you're doing things that are not things that you enjoy doing, like maybe in your work life, and that can burn you out really quickly. Another thing could be that you're so passionate about the things that you're working on that you get burned out because you're putting all of your life force into them. My recommendation would be to pattern break, like whatever kind of routine and pattern you're in, you need to switch it up. Like I just went on a trip partially because I was burned out. I needed to get away for a little bit. So I went traveling and that broke my pattern. I came back and I was refreshed. I'm going to give like a little bit of maybe nuanced advice as well, because I feel like a lot of the world tells you like, try to find balance in your routines, balance with who you are. Balance is everything. And I might give a little bit of the opposite advice, which is maybe indulge what you love and do it until you get burned out. Actually, maybe burnout is not that bad of a thing. I feel like I've gotten the most insight and sense of accomplishment with my life when I actually just like take something full through to the end, and like put all of my passion, all of my life force into something. And then even if it didn't work out, like I came out on the other end feeling incredibly accomplished for what I tried to do. All right, so what are some healing modalities that I would recommend for INFJs? There are so many of them. I think healing in general, the healing arts tend to attract a lot of INFJs. So chances are you've tried so many of them, and you probably have a lot as well that you could recommend to me. I don't know that I have like a distinct list of things that would heal every INFJ, but yeah, drop in the comments if you have things that you would recommend. I would say for INFJs, we tend to be in our minds a lot. I think bibliotherapy, like reading books, is a really good way to heal yourself. I find that some of the best authors out there, when they can put words to something you've experienced and articulate your very complex thoughts, that goes a long way. So that's kind of helping untangle your thoughts and getting you more into your mind, but also in a way that tends to structure and resolve other things that maybe you have a hard time articulating. So bibliotherapy, I think, is great. And then I would say maybe the opposite of that would be trying to get you out of your head. So more experiences in the sensory world, unfortunately. You got to do it. I think it's great to get out there and meet new people. You have to break your habits of solitude sometimes. On that like note of things, I think getting out and working out is one of the best healing modalities. It is good to be strong. I like weightlifting. When I spent the majority of my life, I think, as a very weak person. Like I did not work out very much. My body kind of communicated that to me. Like I felt weak and I came across as a weak person. And something that just really healed that part of myself was working out. So weightlifting, I think, is a good one. It'll make you feel strong and you'll come across as strong. I really like push-ups. I do at least like 20 a day. I think it's a really good goal if you're just starting out, maybe with your exercise, physical activity journey. Try to get to a place where you can do at least 20 push-ups in a row. There are so many benefits there. You will have abs. That's just a really good feeling. And then I would say also squat. Squat is great for grounding. Lunges, incredible. Like it's a nice feeling to feel like you're toned, you know. Those are things that I like. Let's just say that you have issues with your joints and stuff. Then maybe swimming. That was my main sport when I was in high school, was swimming. And I feel so thankful that I learned how to swim, because I think large bodies of water as well are just really helpful and healing for sensitive type people. And you can also do that well into your old age. Swimming is something that is good for you. That's just one sport that I really like. So I would try to find something, whether it's dance or, I don't know, like maybe even wrestling. I hear some people like that helps their mental health. So I don't know. Yeah. Drop in the comments what you do, but those are mine. So, all right. So we are at the 30-minute mark officially, and I still have a ton of questions to go through. So I might start to rapid fire them. And I might extend these into longer videos as well. So drop in the comments the ones that you're really interested in hearing about. But for now, I am just going to go through them rather quickly. So the next question that I have is, how do you balance idealism with realism? And I guess on that note, how do you keep yourself grounded? So this is a really good question. I would say that one of the biggest problems that I've had as someone who resonates with the INFJ personality is groundedness. I get lost in thought all the time. I like to go down rabbit holes, I think, and I tend to get caught up in like NITI loops of just overanalyzing things, not starting things because I'm overanalyzing them. I think also just going too deep into thought. Yeah, that's been a territory that I've also just really struggled with throughout life. And I think the thing that mostly grounds me would be the people in my life. It's nice just to have like a family member who maybe you can talk to deeply. like you're going off on this like existential kind of tangent. And I'm trying to think of an example. This is another problem that I have as an INFJ, is coming up with concrete examples. But there's been times in my life where I've read too deeply into something and thought that it was this deep existential kind of maybe inner child wound that was causing a issue in my life. And it's nice to have someone that's just like, well, it could be that, or maybe you're just hungry right now. It's nice. You need to have people in your life that can go deep with you, but can also ground you. And I would say most of my grounding exercises come with like talking to people, having them kind of do the grounding for me. So what else? I would say also just like those sensory activities of like going out into nature and jumping into water, doing some kind of exercise. All those things will get you out of your head. Types of music that can get you out of your head as well. But yeah, I think something that INFJs do a lot is we project our depth onto people as well. And like they're like, it's this big existential thing that person must be struggling with because that's something that you struggle with. And it's not the truth. Not everything is deep. And so you do need people in your life who just kind of bring you back into reality of like, yeah, maybe it is some kind of inner child problem, but it could also just be that person is stupid. Sorry. And so it's nice to have people in your life that just kind of do those blanket statements, and you need that. So, all right, what's next? Oh, why do INFJs find dating so challenging? I said I was going to do rapid fire questions, and then I had this one thrown in. There is no way that I can answer this question as a rapid fire question. I might have to do a whole video on this one. Sorry. But I think... Let's see. I just want to rattle off some of the main struggles that INFJs have had in dating. Let's see. You're looking for your soulmate. You want someone who has like this magical kind of depth of connection with that person. There's a long distance, an age gap, all kinds of obstacles that you have to overcome for that person. You might have this like very soulful connection with somebody that you only talk to online for a short amount of time, and it was deeper than someone else's year of dating. I think lots of overanalyzing and anxiety, judging someone in an instant and feeling like you already know everything about them. Gosh, there's so much to INFJ dating. I might just allocate this one to an entire video. There's so much depth of territory to cover, and I would like to add like more nuanced perspectives as well. I feel like INFJ dating especially is something that there's a lot of videos out there on this. And I just don't even know where I would begin with it. This would be a 30-minute video in itself. Yeah, let's hold off on this one. I will come back to it another time. How about that? Yeah. All right. I think this next one actually has a lot of things that might answer the dating question. What kind of friendships and partnerships are INFJs drawn to? I already did a whole video on this, like what makes an INFJ feel loved. I think that video really helps with like what we're drawn to. Yeah, we want to feel loved. So I think when it comes to friendships and partnerships, I would say a big one is openness and curiosity. It's really nice when you have people that want to dig into your mind, especially when you're a complex thinker. You got to have that. Someone who is curious about you. I really like it when people can like expand my horizons in some way. I hate feeling like trapped and stagnant. It's really nice when somebody has like a growth mindset and wants to be better in all ways of life, and is constantly improving and doing that on their own, like seeking it out on their own. I don't think it's a very healthy dynamic when one person's really into like self-development and improvement and the other person is just doesn't really care about that stuff. I think that would be a really challenging kind of relationship to be in for an INFJ. We got to have growth, and I think it's good to have friendships and partnerships that push you in certain ways. My best like friendships, I think, have come through people who they had something that they were really passionate about, and that was like their thing. It's nice to be around people who have like a passion that you can kind of absorb by osmosis, and you end up growing through that. But it doesn't have to be like your thing. Yeah, I'm trying to I'm always thinking of specific people that I know and who have just like really helped me out. And so it's like hard for me to articulate in a generalized way without like bringing up that person. That's what I see. It's just like someone who can broaden your horizons, help you grow, and is really interested and curious about who you are at a very deep level. So. All right, I am going to skip on some of the Myers-Briggs stuff, and we are going to look at some other personality models out there. So I get this question all the time. What is my Enneagram type? What is my astrology? And then also, what are my big 5 personality traits? So the Enneagram. I think all of these are fine. I think the way that you should approach personality typing or any type of classification system is, of course, just see it as like a generic resonance tool. It's a way to find traits inside of yourself and give words to them. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like labels, and I get it. Like, why can't we just be? But sometimes these things can help you. They can help you with your career. They can help you find satisfying relationships. There's a lot of benefit to personality typing tests. And I would say the Enneagram, parts of astrology, and Big Five definitely has a lot of benefit to finding those things out for you. So yeah, for me personally, Enneagram, I don't know that I really resonate with that tool as much. I've taken that test a few times. I generally get like the one that I always get typed as is a 3. A lot of people find that very surprising. The type 3 is like a achiever. Yeah, I think one of the traits inside of myself, like a primary driving force for me, is excellence. I like to perform with excellence. And so I am often classified as like a 3-wing 4 or like a 4-wing 3. I think that resonates with me quite a bit. I think as an INFJ, that's not very common. I think most people are 4-wing 5, and I've gotten that one as well, but it doesn't tend to resonate with me as much as the 3 for some reason. But yeah, I've taken that test a few times, and I've even gotten like an 8, like a challenger. I could kind of see that actually in my life. So yeah, I'm generally though like a 3-wing 4, a 4-wing 3, a 4-wing 5, or occasionally an 8. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really resonate with that tool as much, but I have gotten some deep insight there. Let's see. Astrology. Yeah, I like the packaging of words in astrology as an insight tool, a tool for insight. It gives all kinds of things that I never thought about at the archetypal level as well. So I'm not entirely anti-astrology, but I do have a caution about it because I think that there are a lot of like scammy type people out there in that space, and I understand why it is such a turnoff to more scientific type people. Sure, I get it. Yeah, so for my astrology, I did do like a natal chart reading some years ago. I am a Sagittarius sun in the 7th house. I have a Libra moon, and I am a Gemini rising. I think the main thing that was like helpful for me from that tool was mostly I have a lot of planets in the 5th house, which is like creativity, and like my moon is there, and it's like conjunct Jupiter or something, and that really, I don't know, like there was something about that energy, I guess, that really resonated with me, like the moon conjunct Jupiter and the 5th house. Let's see what else. Lots of Aquarius in my chart. I'm really drawn to technology and things like that. Trying to remember what else there was. The 7th house is kind of active for me, which is like partnerships and relationship. And then also the 10th house. So I have like, I think that's where my Aquarius is or something like that. And yeah, so like my professional path is more like innovation and things of that nature. So yeah, that actually resonated with me a lot. And then for my big 5 traits, I think I'm really high in openness to experience. I was in like the 90th percentile for that. And that resonates with me. Being high in openness is kind of a challenge in life. And I've gotten some questions about that as well. I would say it's important to be open to experience, but also like there was this quote I heard a long time ago that was like, you shouldn't be so open that your brain falls out. And that like resonates with me a lot, because if you are someone who is high in openness, you can probably find your brain stretching into the depths of darkness if you want to go there and not have a problem with it. I tend to have like a hard time drawing boundaries because I am so high in openness. I can't remember my other traits though. Like I was high in industriousness and conscientiousness. And the other ones were kind of mid-level. So I'll have to find that report. I don't really remember. All right, next question. I am going to be skipping some of the personality stuff and focus on one question that I have been getting a lot in the past, especially the past few videos that I put out. And that question is, how do you do your artwork and animation? Yeah, so this has been a kind of a new development for me on my channel. And first of all, thank you for asking this question too, because I think a lot of people just assume that I'm only using AI tools, and that is not the truth, because I have been practicing illustration for about 3 years now, and I'm kind of shy about it. I've been doing classes like on my own, just how to draw pencil drawings, and it was a skill that I loved as a kid, or just like a general outlet that I had as a kid. I used to draw all the time. Like I started doing digital art when I was like 4 years old with paint, and I used to do it for hours. I just loved drawing on the computer. I used to draw all the time, and when we would be in church, and I would be like in the back of the pews, like with my little notebook drawing things. And yeah, I've just always loved art. Not a lot of people know that about me as well. It's been kind of a hidden, quiet thing because I'm kind of shy about it, and I'm nowhere near like professional level. The past few years with the AI tools that have come out, it's helped me like gain confidence in exposing my work because I'm able to put that AI polish on it. I feel like my stuff doesn't have like a professional type quality to it quite yet. And I am trying to build up to that point, but I'm not professional, and it's kind of hit or miss, the drawings that I have. But it is something that I really love. So, but I guess to answer the question more concretely, what tools do I use? First of all, I use Illustrator for some of my stuff. I have a Wacom, I think that's how it's pronounced, a Wacom. Let me actually grab that. Yeah, I have like a very basic kind of Wacom one that I bought a few years ago. I don't really use it that often. I mostly use just pen and pencil and paper, and that's kind of how I get my ideas out of my head. Yeah, it's taken me a lot of time to figure out what style and form of expression that feels like me. And I think a lot of artists go through that in the beginning phases of any type of craft. You're trying to figure out who you are through the medium. And so I personally don't have a lot of problems with AI tools. I know it's kind of a controversial subject because they do use a variety of other people's artwork to produce certain outputs. And there's a lot that we can go into that from like a technology perspective as well. But the reason I don't have a problem with it is because a lot of art is just copying other people in the beginning phases of anything. It's copying people. You look for sources of inspiration. You look for things that resonate with you. Over time, you'll start to build up your own kind of originality, your own voice. So I think like when it comes to AI tools, especially, you need to approach it with openness and see it through a holistic perspective, because I think there's a lot there that we can learn. I guess I didn't say every tool that I use. So I use Illustrator for like my own kind of artistic expression, and then I take those inputs and I put them usually into Midjourney or DALL-E. And those are the two tools that I've been toggling between. I think for my own kind of like artistic output of like styles that I really like the New Yorker. That's something that I pull a lot of inspiration from. There's like an intellectual kind of vibe that they have that I just really enjoy, kind of minimalistic as well. It's very clever art that I just really like the form of it. I really like collage. I've been learning collage over the years. I had a book here somewhere and I'm trying to find it. I don't know. I'll have to find it. But I've been learning collage. And I think one way to approach AI tools, especially if you want to be more ethical about it, is to use collage rules. It's not good to copy somebody's exact style, everything that they do, and like just put that into an AI tool and start generating your own art. I think you should mix in your own stuff. I'll show some examples of like, this is my art, or what the like Midjourney might put out if you just put in like a generic kind of prompt versus like actually adding in your own stuff and like style. I think it gives like a more authentic look, and it doesn't look as AI generated. I think AI especially has this kind of uncanny valley kind of look to it that I don't really like too much. So you can see the difference between something that has like originality inside of it that was using an AI tool versus something that was just like generically composed. Okay, I found the book. It's called the Collage Ideas book. And I have a few collage books around the house and I can't find them, but this is one of them. The main sources of inspiration that I have are the New Yorker. I love all the artists that do those covers. I study them quite a bit, and there's a few artists. I'll list them. I don't have them off the top of my head right now that I really like. I also like 1920s textbooks. There's some really good drawings in there, and anything that is like I think 1929 right now, or I forget what the rule is for public domain stuff. Anything that's like pre-1920s you can use. So I often use the 1920s textbooks for some of my graphics, and I don't actually like input any of my work. That's just the 1920s style of art that I use. I also really like biology textbooks. So my mom was a biology teacher. I'm going to grab a couple of them. Yeah, like textbooks have so many cool diagrams in them. So I get a lot of inspiration from like biology textbooks. I think like drawings of plants are really beautiful. Human anatomy, like there's just so much there. So I feel really lucky that I had a biology teaching mom because she has all of these textbooks and I just like to look at them for inspiration. She was almost going to throw them away and I was like, no, I gotta have these. So yeah. I think artists pull inspiration all over, you can get stuff from nature and a lot of it is my own photography. I like to take pictures. That gives me like a kind of a depth of texture for some of the art that I make. Yeah, I don't know. I'll put up a slide of other things that I use, but for the animation portion, that is something that I almost forgot. I use Kling, Minimax is what it's called, and then also Runway. Those are the three main animation tools that I use. I think animation is something that I probably won't ever learn as a skill. I probably will always just use AI tools. There's just so much, there's a lot to learn with animation and I would love to learn it, but I think that's something that I'll probably just always resort for an AI tool. Whereas like illustration stuff, I am actually trying to learn how to do that. Let's see, what else? Oh, someone else just asked me generically, what do I think about AI? What an interesting era it is for technology. I have a lot of thoughts on AI, and I think people come onto my channel sometimes are very turned off because my art, a lot of it is just AI, and I understand the concerns, especially in this day and age. People can misuse the tool, put out like AI slop and like gross looking images, and I don't know, there's just this kind of robotic feel to it that's missing soulfulness. The other thing about those tools is that they scrape other artists' work, and some of that is it's kind of like plagiarism because the artist didn't give their consent to be put into an AI tool. I understand the boundaries and ethics surrounding stuff like that. So yes, I think that there is like a strong need for regulations in that environment, and I don't want to go too in detail there because I'm still researching it, if I'm honest. But yeah, I understand the dark side. But just like any tool, the internet, for example, there are so many problems that happen through any tool. And I wouldn't limit it to that kind of one-dimensional view of things. There's also a lot of positive things as well that have come through AI. I think one of them being is that this is like the era for visionaries. If you're someone who just has an idea, like I want to make an animation video, it is a lot faster and easier to do that and requires less people and tools. Like back in the day, my last video that I made would require an entire studio to put that together. But it was just me making it in the matter of a couple of weeks, a week or two. That's kind of a positive thing for people like me. It's kind of equalizing in that I don't need to be a multimillionaire to produce a video like that. Other things I think is that it's helpful to understand patterns and pattern recognition. So like a lot of those tools, those linguistic tools, the LLMs out there, I don't always like their writing, for instance. I think it's very fluffy and kind of like the words don't always make sense, but they sound good for some reason. I kind of like that AI will spit out at me some kind of paragraph of like my thoughts kind of in a more organized way. But then from there, I can kind of work with it as a tool of like tweaking things like, yeah, I meant this and this and this I would take out and this I would restructure. Like it still requires a lot of human input, at least for how it is right now. These things will probably improve with time for sure. But I like the idea of just like pattern recognition. Like there is a pattern to language. So there's a pattern to art. I think true kind of soulful expression breaks those patterns. So if nothing else, I think AI gives you a sense of what those patterns are. You don't need to reinvent the wheel with a lot of ideas and thought and artistic expression. Like you can actually like take that pattern and then like tweak it to be your own soulful expression is kind of how I see it. I will probably put out an entire video on AI tools sometime, especially if you want to know my creative process, because I think a lot of people have this faulty assumption that I am only using like Midjourney and that's it. I am using a lot of my own stuff and it takes a lot of time. The last couple of videos I did were actually kind of expensive too. If you are someone who is interested in doing animation, those tools can start to add up. I think like they cost like at least $100 minimum. But yeah, it was worth it to me because that's just the best way that I actually express myself, I think, is through visuals. So that's why I've been spending a lot of money on learning these tools. I lose money through this channel and it's fine though because I love it so much. It feels like a miracle that I'm able to actually put out that form of expression as someone who didn't go to art school but is so passionate about it. So anyway, I will probably do a whole video on AI tools in the future. All right, let's see. Oh, I like this question because it's a little different. Many of your videos have a spiritual bent. How do you handle spiritual experiences? Yeah, so a lot of my videos do have a more, like, I like to talk about belief and spirituality as well. My approach to spirituality, I think, is a little more academic. Like, I like knowledge and like right knowledge, and I like to explore belief. Those are topics that I think are really challenging to address with like the average person. Yeah, I was thinking that on my channel I might do more topics related to like transpersonal psychology. It's where like psychology and spirituality coalesce. And there's a lot of concepts there that I think would have very beautiful illustrative artwork to them. I've already been kind of working on a couple of them. So yeah, I have some videos in my lineup that I think will be really cool, that are kind of transpersonal psychology related. How do I handle spiritual experiences? That's an interesting question. I kind of want to know more context about that. For the most part, I keep it to myself, actually. In my life, I think I only have like maybe a couple people that I can share that type of stuff with. For the most part, I kind of outsource it. Like, I have some spiritual communities that I'm involved in. Nobody in my local environment is very spiritual. I have some like religious people, but not very spiritual. Yeah. So for them, I always regret when I tell or share my spiritual experiences with people, because it's very misunderstood territory, and it's also deeply personal. You know, like, I don't know, they can just brush it aside as like, oh, it was probably just some biological response to whatever. And of course, that is a part of spirituality as too, is understanding like your biological impulse to things, but there's also a spiritual nature to that as well. Anyway, I usually keep that stuff to myself. Yeah. I might do some videos about some of the spiritual experiences that I've had, but I like kind of more of an academic approach to it and just exploring the topics conceptually as well as academically. So yeah, I don't know. I think I will probably explore that, like the mystic, and maybe that type of academic voice is needed in this space as well, because I think there are some spiritual channels that can sort of be exploitative, and the times that people go to spirituality is often when they're in like a very weak spot, and there's just all kinds of people in those channels and spaces that try to exploit that. It'll probably be something I explore on my channel a little more. All right, we are almost at the 1 hour mark, and I promised I would answer at least some of these more simple ones. So yeah, I'm just gonna rattle off some of the easy ones. So you guys are so deep that I just want like a simple question. All right, what's your favorite book? Yeah, I read a lot, and I think, I don't know, like, it's so hard for me to pick a favorite book. I don't know. I think I'm on Goodreads as well. So I have like 550 books in there that I've read, and like all throughout life. That, I think that's a total amount that I can remember that I've read, 550 books. I would probably say like one book that I really liked was East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I read that when I was like 18 years old, and I just really liked the complexity of the characters. It's kind of biblical as well. It's like a story about kind of a nuance of Cain and Abel. Yeah, I just thought that book was really good. I can't remember the main girl's name in there. I think it was like Aubrey or something like that. I really resonated with that character when I was 18, and I think if you're an INFJ, you just might really like that book. But yeah, East of Eden by John Steinbeck, I will peg that as my favorite, but there's probably a lot of books that I like. Let's see. And then, what kind of music do you like? As someone who is like high in openness, I actually have a very diverse palette of music that I like, and I definitely can't narrow it down. What kind of music do I like? Actually, what kind of music don't I like? That's probably a better question. I don't like a lot of 80s pop, a 70s pop as well. I don't know. Like, there's probably something in there that I could like, but I don't like that. If anybody wanted to torture me, you would make me listen to department store Christmas songs. Yeah, I don't like department store Christmas songs. Sorry, I didn't answer the question. But yeah, I think it's just easier for me to answer what I don't like. So what I don't like is 80s pop and department store Christmas songs. Okay. Let's see. Oh. Why are your teeth so white? I think it's this light. I noticed that when I was putting together one of my videos that my teeth were supernaturally white. I think I just bought this light recently, and I did notice that my teeth were unnaturally glowing, and I think it might be a combination of Crest, like the fluorescence in Crest, and this light. But you know what's funny is that I was at a dinner the other night with my brother, and I noticed that his teeth were like supernaturally white. I don't know. He has very white teeth. Maybe it's a family thing. Yeah, now everybody's gonna be like looking at my teeth. So I did write this question down. Thank you for asking, and thank you for noticing. All right, last question. And this one I actually wrote to myself because I just don't know how to conclude a video like this. But the question is, what's next for your channel and for your life in general? I am very excited for the future of this channel because I just recently got into illustration and animation, and I have so many ideas for how to make certain like concepts and like really difficult, complex psychological things come to life with visuals. That is something that I would like to explore on this channel a little more. I have a bunch of topics that I would like to do, and really challenging books as well. I think my gift is being able to take like really complex, challenging material and turn it into animation, visuals that are simplified in a way that people can get. So I would like to do that and explore that more on this channel. Yeah, I think where I'm at in general in life is like the cloud of unknowing. I'm like at a point where I don't know what's going to come next, and I'm trying to shape it a little more, but I also have to see what things come my way. And yeah, that's a video for another time, actually. The cloud of unknowing. That's kind of like a mystic thing. So yeah, I'd like to talk about that. I had 40 questions on my list, and I don't think I touched half of them. So I will probably do another video like this in the future. Or if there's any topics that you wish that I could address, like for a full video, I will do that. Anyway, I'm going to conclude there because I am tired. Thank you all for watching, and I don't know what's next. We'll see. I might put out some surprise videos here and there. So yeah, I will leave it at that. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.